It's an ordinary person who sees something and then becomes more than they thought possible. And this starts in a strange way with a tragedy in your house. Talk about Owen.
Yeah. Owen was born with a chromosomal abnormality. Basically, like all of our DNA is a little bit different, but it all sort of follows the same plan, that it's what puts our eyes in the right place and the hair on the top of our heads, or, from my brother on his back. But with Owen, a couple of those were sort of like cut and paste this piece of DNA and put it in a different place, or just delete a little bit of it. And our DNA is such that, when you start rearranging it, start deleting it, it causes just a whole host of issues. And so, yeah.
So
Owen,
he struggled physically his whole life.
yeah, he had both physical and cognitive delays across the board. He needed a lot of medical equipment growing up. He needed a lot of physical therapy, occupational therapy. The teachers, the schools were fantastic, but they couldn't have done it without some of the equipment that he needed as well.
But he was also an imp. He was also a mischievous little rascal. I
Oh
mean, he
yeah,
wasn't just a sickly kid. He was just an imp. And, things where, he'd just give you a look in his eyes and he'd pull the feeding tube out, or, just do it to spite you, just to see what you do.
oh yeah.
Right, right.
My wife's favorite story is that we were at the Renaissance Festival, and we had this thing. Owen, like you said, he loved to get a hold of stuff, and he'd usually get a hold of a piece of medical equipment because he didn't want to be hooked up to all these tubes. He'd get it and he'd rifle it across the room. And so I always said that I was developing dad-like reflexes, that I was just super quick. And so we were at the Renaissance Festival. He's in this little wagon. He grabs this little piece of medical equipment. He throws it out of the wagon, and I snatch it out of the air. I grab that thing, and I look over at Elena, and I'm like, dad-like reflexes. And at that moment, Owen has this little cube that he loved playing with, and he gets that out of the wagon, and he just goes across, hits me across the bridge of the nose, and I for the rest of the day, I had this mark across the bridge of my nose. And my wife and kids and everyone else just thought it was hilarious because, there I am, I caught it. I'm feeling good. And he is immediately like, nah, put that on hold, old man. So yeah, we always said he was a butt, but he was our butt. We loved him. He was great. Big personality.
I mean, hundreds went to his funeral. Hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
I mean,
and I started the conversation with this. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And when you hear, oh yeah, that makes sense. I saw a T-shirt that I thought was even better. It said, "When life gives you lemons, at least you don't have scurvy," which I thought was hilarious. And maybe that's a better quote, right?
Yeah, I like it.
But when things happen, are they universally bad? Are they universally good? Is it true that God can take suffering and not waste a drop of it? Oh, that's a really good question, because there are many people who suffer a lot. And so I don't want to be, Mr. Rose-colored glasses in that. But I tell you what, though, what came out of his suffering and your loss is astonishing.